Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, September the 16th. Let's throw up the field for race number 9 at Kentucky Downs. We're going 6.5 furlongs on the turf. This is the Grade 3 Franklin-Simpson Stakes for 3-year-olds. Remember to download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. The number 7 Kamari cross-centered on Tuesday at Kentucky Downs, expected to run in that race. So with Kamari out, that'll give an opportunity perhaps for the number 13 Competitive Saint to draw into the body of the race. Let's throw up the Timeform US projector for this race. We're expecting the pace to come from the inside. The number 3 Maven is fast for Wesley Ward. Johnny Unleashed just went gate to wire. Turned Aside has tactical speed. But I kind of agree with the pace projector, Mike. I don't think there are really any blazers in here.
Yeah, I sort of felt like Maven would be the one to take up the running here, Dan. He just seems like a horse who's at his best when he can make the front. That didn't happen last time at Saratoga, but I think things will be different here. I think they'll send him to the early lead.
A colt that has shown the ability to sit and finish is the number 1, Turned Aside, who could work out a very good trip close to the pace. Let's watch his most recent effort in the Grade 3 Quick Call at Saratoga. We see him. He has already taken over the lead. He was prompting the pace 3 wide on the turn. And once he makes the lead, he extends very nicely at a key juncture, and he's able to hold on despite changing back to his wrong lead in the waning strides.
Yeah, this was a good effort. And he's been a really good horse right from the start, Dan. It always looked like he had a lot of potential for Linda Rice. And, yes, he had a little bit of an advantage there in the Quick Call when Jack and Noah, the big favorite, just didn't break well in that race and then didn't fire at all. But I don't know how much it really was going to matter. Turned Aside ran a really nice race there. And again, he's just been really good from the start. Linda Rice pointed him for this race. And I think she probably made the right decision. It's a big purse and he's a good horse.
I think it's fair to assume that right now the number 2, Johnny Unleashed, is a tweener as it pertains to class. He just has not proven to be of stakes caliber. He's probably a little bit better than the optional claiming horses he's been running against. He really only has one race on his page that makes him competitive, and that was his most recent effort at Indiana Grand, going 5 furlongs, where he set the pace, he held on. It was an improved performance from what we've seen. His big advantage is his speed in a race where, other than Maven, there may not be a ton of it.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like he doesn't necessarily have to have the lead, Dan, but we'll see how much Maven gets in his way here, because Maven's a pretty good horse in his own right, and I think he's going to show speed in here. We'll see. Johnny Unleashed did run well last time. I won't deny that. He got a big figure for that race. Now he's going to stretch out a furlong and a half against better horses. Not an easy task.
That's a big task, but he was second best to Maven, 3 back at Keeneland at a gigantic price. So fairly close to Maven on his best day. As for Maven, he was a very, very good 2-year-old Group 3 winner. Just one of those typical Wesley Ward early types that go to Europe and then make hay in these group races. He won at Keeneland over Johnny Unleashed 2 starts back when he was just able to cruise to an easy, uncontested lead. And last time out, Jack and Noah gave him no chance to do that.
Yeah, true. I mean, he probably wasn't going to win that race last time regardless, Dan. It didn't help his chances that he bumped pretty solidly at the start, was beaten to the lead by Jack and Noah, and after that, he just really didn't have any chance at all. Not that he ran well otherwise, but he really lost his best chance at the start. We'll see. I'm sort of on the fence about him. He's run pretty well in most of his races, and he's got really good speed. I guess I'm not as worried about the 6.5 for him, but it's still a question that he has to answer if he goes to the front.
I'm really not worried about the 6.5 for Flapjack. He's won at 7 over Synthetic and the Arlington, Washington Futurity. I think Jack Sisterson is still trying to figure out what kind of horse is he. Is he a synthetic horse? Is he a dirt horse? Is he a turf sprinter? Is he a turf router? He's actually run well in a turf mile maiden race. In the Quick Call 2 starts back, I thought he had a decent trip. We saw Turned Aside beat him. He was in behind horses a little bit in the stretch. Last time out, no chance when Jack and Noah blitzed that field. There's something here with this horse. It's going to be one of these days. I'm just not sure one of these days is Wednesday.
Now, I'm not sure either, but I'll use him at a big price, Dan, because I do think he's talented. And at the end of the day, I think, the 6.5 furlongs, which could be a question for a lot of these horses, I don't really think it's a question for him. I actually think it could help this horse.
I think this turnback works to the favor of the 5 Island Commish. This is a horse that has shown speed going middle distances. Might have found the 5.5 too sharp on the Mahoney last time out when Jack and Noah again just simply got loose on him. I think he can be a little bit more forwardly placed, stretching back out to this distance. And he does have some races. He's a grade 3 winner going 7.5 furlong that indicate that on his best, he can get at least a piece of this at a price.
Yeah, I agree that the distance could really work better for him than some of the others. He is the horse that may have been bumped with at the start of that Mahoney last time. It probably cost both of them a little bit in that race. This horse didn't do that much running in there, but the added distance helps him. If there's any pace in front of him, I think that helps him. There are things to like about him at a price.
Old Chestnut we saw getting up for second in the quick call behind Turn Decide. I thought he had a decent spot at the back of the pack by himself. Turn Decide just got the jump on him. Turn Decide just might be a little bit better than he is as well. Old Chestnut never got into it last time against Jack and Noah. He has to do better, but he's another horse that I think 6.5 will work for.
It could. We'll see. I'm just having a tough time deciding how good I really think he is, Dan. He's going to sit back. He's going to make one run into this race. If the pace is there, I suspect you'll know him late in this race. I just don't know if he's good enough to get up there first.
Gildsman had some trips in his first 2 starts in North America, the Texas Glitter and that allowance race at Churchill Downs when he was off slow, steadied behind a dullard on the far turn, and then had to alter course back to the hedge in mid-stretch. I was really disappointed in his race in the Sir Cat. Maybe it was a situation where they just had him a little bit too close to the pace that day, and he didn't have anything left to sprint home with the likes of Jack and Noah. But he kind of got his win last time out at Presque Isle Downs. Maybe that was the time.
Yeah, maybe it was. We'll see. I still think the best race that he's run is that Churchill race 3 back, Dan, where he said he had a little trouble against allowance horses. Other than that, I can't say I'm thrilled with this horse.
I think Embolden is another horse that's really interesting at this distance, kind of a tweener distance for Embolden. A horse that was a stakes winner sprinting at Colonial going 5.5 at 2 and really wasn't embarrassed last time out in the grade 3 Saranac over very yielding ground going a mile. So now he's going third off the layoff for Michael Stidham. And I think all he needs is a little bit of pace help up front and he can come rolling at a price. I think he's a strong contender at his morning line odds of 15-1.
Yeah, I sort of looked at him the same way. He's another horse that I don't know how good I really think he is, but he certainly runs some nice races, and I do like him cutting back for this race. The mile last time over, just a bog at Saratoga that day. I don't really know how to evaluate that race, but he didn't run poorly in there. He was up close to the pace the entire way, only gave it up very late in the game there. So I like him cutting back for this race.
Let's watch another Miracle's most recent effort in the My Frenchman Stakes at Monmouth. He is the number 1 white cap maroon silks. He still has some work to do with 1/8 of a mile to run, but he is going to inhale these horses in the final strides to win. First time blinkers. He was a solid 2-year-old for the now retired Gary Contessa, a stakes winner at Saratoga, and maybe he's just finding his best form again.
Yeah, very lightly raced still. He hasn't really gotten a 4-year-old or 3-year-old campaign together, but you're right. He was a good 2-year-old. I've always liked this horse. I think he's a really good turf sprinter. He's going to have to improve off of that win that we just watched, Dan, but he might be able to do it. This horse has some ability.
The 11-4 left, for the most part, has been managed very well by trainer Doug O'Neill, winner of the UAE 2000 Guineas, a Group 3 race. And I kind of think maybe sprinting on the turf is what he's going to ultimately want to do. He was third in the quick call last time out. I don't think he had that much of an excuse in that race against Turn Decide, but perhaps stretching out just another furlong. That's probably the max for 4 left. I don't like him any further than 6.5 or 7.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm worried about how far he wants to go. He was, fine in the quick call, I guess. He was never a real threat in that race, and he, just sort of held on for third in that race. He's got to do a lot better than that, I think.
Can you make an argument that maybe Super Dormy is a little bit dirtied up at a big price for trainer Mark Cassia? 1 or 2 starts back going 5.5 furlongs, a little green that day. But then in that Keeneland race, that was the race where Maven and Johnny Unleashed, they kind of ran 1-2 from about the half-mile pole all the way down to the wire. Super Dormy might have been compromised by the lack of pace in that race.
He might have. I just don't like his other races enough to really want to give him another chance in here, Danny. I just didn't think he ran that well in that race, and I don't love his other races.
Let's watch competitive Saint, who's likely to break in from the also eligible list, or at least will have the first opportunity to do so. That's Jack and Noah, who roasted this field on the front end. Competitive Saint's moving into second. He has been on the chase in vain throughout, but he shows no quit. He keeps on trucking. He's going to finish second. He gives no ground to the winner in the final furlong. This is a lightly raced gelding that has shown some talent from day one for George Weaver, and I think the 6.5 is good for him. I have a feeling he also kind of fits well with these horses from a class standpoint. I think we're going to see a good effort from him if he gets to play.
I agree with you. It seems like there's a chance he's going to be able to get into this race if they want to run him here. If he gets in, I think I would probably use him somewhere. I like both of his turf sprint races. I actually felt like he ran pretty well in the Mahoney last time.
As we take one last look at the field for the Grade 3 Franklin-Simpson Stakes, again, we are expecting Kamari to scratch. And remember, head on over to Timeform US. That pace projector will change, timeformus.com after scratches. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Franklin-Simpson Stakes. I'm just looking for a price in here. Johnny Unleashed might not be good enough to win this race. He might be already exposed as not being a stakes horse, but I did like his last race on the engine, and I want them to be aggressive out of the gate. Take this race to Maven, and perhaps he can at least last for a piece. I do like your top pick a lot, the one turned aside. I want to use him, and if George Weaver's horse gets in off the also eligible list, I want to use that horse as well.
Yeah, I feel like if the Weaver horse does get in, that's a horse I want to use as well. I don't have him in my top 4, but if he gets in, I want to use him somewhere. I'm just going to go with Turned Aside. I just think he's a good horse, Dan. I've liked him basically right from the start. And as opposed to some of the others, I think the 6.5 actually works for this horse.
And as you mentioned, Linda Rice had options at Saratoga for this horse. She's been pointing for this race all along. Nice inside post position with tactical speed. Mike's going 110.94. I'm going 2-1-13.9 in the Grade 3 Franklin-Simpson Stakes at Kentucky Downs on Wednesday. Approximate post 4:32 Central. Good luck.